What's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic, coming at you with a brand new episode of the USBL here on MLB The Show 21, as we are getting ready to wrap up the Season 2 regular season here, and the playoff races are certainly getting red hot. You're not going to want to miss the gameplay that we got playing for you guys. So it's going to be a really good one. Make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, as well as hit that subscribe button as well. If you happen to be brand new, I would truly appreciate it. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's start with our first game on the docket here today. We got the Las Vegas Lounge Lizards taking on the San Francisco Seals, as they are certainly been red hot as of right now. As San Francisco, we're going to take the early lead here as we're going ahead, getting around the base paths, and that's going to end up being safe as well. So San Francisco will strike first and get the first run of this game, as we will go ahead and jump into the top of the third inning. Las Vegas will go ahead and maybe start the strike back, as we do see the tying runner here getting themselves over to second base. That's Kyle Tucker, who is now tied for the lead in terms of most doubles this season. He is tied with Cody Bellinger. Let's go ahead and check out the Wonder Boy, Wander Franco, who's able to get that one through to first base, and we will end up seeing Kyle Tucker scoring in. Wander Franco, who just got that massive 12-year contract from the Tampa Bay Rays in real life, he does manage to slide into second base. So this game is all tied up at 1, but we'll see if Las Vegas can go ahead and retake the lead here as well. As now, Miguel Sano, 1-1 count. He's going to belt this one to right field. It's going to end up dropping, reaching the wall. There's going to be one run that scores, potentially two. It's going to be close. Not a good idea. I don't know what was transpiring there, but Las Vegas does end up getting 2 runs, and they will end up taking a 2-1 lead on the San Francisco Seals. Although Nick Castellanos might have something to say about that, as that ends up dropping as well. This will also end up being a double, so we will end up seeing the tying run here at second base. We'll see if Josh Donaldson gonna be able to go ahead and bring him home. He will be facing a 1-2 count, though, as this hit into center field, it is going to drop for a base hit, and Nick Castellanos is not only going to be able to get home, but doing so without a challenge from the outfielder. He did not attempt to throw home. And Josh Donaldson does go ahead and tie this thing up at 2. But we do also see an early change here for the San Francisco Seals here. In the top of the 5th inning, they end up bringing in second-year pro Rick Slade into the game. He has a little bit of starter experience, a little bit of a long reliever for the San Francisco Seals. But he's going to give up the lead, though, as that 2-run shot is given up to Miguel Sano, who does end up hitting his 35th home run of the season. So the San Francisco Seals, they do end up going to the bullpen for a second time, bringing out John Curtis, and John Curtis doing a much better job of taking care of business this time around. But the damage has certainly been done. Las Vegas has a 5-2 lead, and now the Seals are going to have to try to work themselves out of this deficit, and that will certainly help out that cause as well. A 2-base hit by Victor Reyes, his 29th double of the season, will at least get a run into scoring position. We'll see if Ozzy Alvarez is going to be able to bring him home, as Alvarez hits a base hit into right field. This could bring in that run from William Adames, and he is in just in time. Almost got tagged out at home, though. That was a really nice throw by the right fielder. But, you know, a little too late. Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear missiles. Speaking of missiles, we'll see if Nick Castellanos can hit a nuke. But we're going to see a steal from Ozzy Alvarez, though, able to steal second base. Although he will end up being stranded there as the inning does end. But the San Francisco gets a little bit closer, a 2-run deficit now. But Wander Franco, he's going to hit an absolute moonshot out to right center field. It does not end up leaving the ballpark, but it will end up driving a RBI in. So the run that did end up going ahead and being surrendered back in the bottom of the 5th inning, they will end up getting that back and have a chance to go ahead and add to this, as well as Cody Bellinger. This is deep out in the center field, almost leaves the ballpark. He will be called out in the warning track, but because it was so deep, it still counts as a run sacrifice fly for Cody Bellinger, even though he does not get the home run that maybe he was looking for. But we will see San Francisco go to that bullpen again. Huge at-bat here. Travis Denard, who has not gotten a single hit in this game. 0 for 3 so far. Getting a big hit in a big time as it really opens up the floodgates for Las Vegas. Could be a second run here. Is it going to end up getting home? So the bases end up getting cleared. And how about a commanding lead for Las Vegas, up 9-3 here. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Big time here for Nick Castellanos to respond. Hit out to left field, will end up being called out, but 1 run will score for San Francisco. It's now a 9-4 game. So let's go. Nick Castellanos with the sacrifice fly. We'll see if Josh Donaldson can have some better results, though. But ends up walking, and Jake Odorizzi, who did just recently come in the 7th inning, breaking that Cardinal rule. Whenever you're a pitcher, you do not walk people when the bases are loaded. You simply cannot do that. Plus, you know, a run is a run, and every run counts, especially when San Francisco is trying to make a run at it. But Willy Adames gets thrown out at home, though. What a nuke from the right arm of Cody Bellinger. Oh my goodness. And San Francisco will potentially not get any more runs in this inning, depending on how this at-bat by Seth Beer goes. Although that gets down the left baseline, it is a fair ball. So San Francisco gets 1 more run in. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Seth Beer will get an RBI. So it's just a 2-run game all of a sudden. And it's all up to Aaron Bummer. We'll see if he can go ahead and keep it just a 2-run game. The San Francisco offense is starting to really wake up here. It's just a matter of if they can hold down Las Vegas here in these last couple of innings, as Chad DeLagora going to go ahead and get a double out to left field. If it got past that outfielder, that would have probably at least been a triple. But nice job making sure the ball stays in front of you as an outfielder. But too little too late potentially, though, as Las Vegas does put up another run on the board. It's, I believe, Kyle Tucker that got that RBI single in there. So San Francisco, they're going to go ahead and go to the bullpen yet again. And this time they will bring in Dan Altavilla into the game. We'll see if he can clean things up here in the top of the 9th now, as Josh Jung comes up to the plate, and one of the better prospects in the USBL, but batting .239, so still have a little bit of work to do. Has a lot of potential to be a power hitter in the USBL, as we saw a little bit of it right there, as that does end up leaving the ballpark, but as a ground rule double. But an 11-7 lead. It's just too little too late. San Francisco cannot come back. They could not get any runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's a big win for Las Vegas as they're trying to keep their hopes alive in the wild card hunt. And this will certainly help doing so. A 11-7 victory for the Lounge Wizards of Las Vegas.
11.
So Aurora and Louisville played a baseball game, but it was the Aurora Lightning. They took the Louisville Colonials to town. Just some great baseball action coming around, you know. We saw the Aurora Lightning explode with 19 hits, 16 runs coming across as well. It seemed like almost everybody on the Aurora Lightning squad had not only a hit, but almost, double-digit hits. Only exceptions being Dickerson, Martinez, and Zach Collins. But, I mean, it was a great hitting day overall. 19 for 46 at the plate. That is something special. Louisville was really struggling, though. Now, Nicky Montano, he did have an inside-the-park home run in this game. But, besides him, nobody really stepped up. I mean, it was only him and Buster Posey that even had hits the entire game, and that's just not gonna cut it for a team that is trying to make the playoffs. Louisville came in as a fringe playoff contender, and this certainly will not help their cause whatsoever. But speaking of games that do have really big wildcard implications, let's go ahead and check in on the Minnesota Ducks going ahead and taking on the Pittsburgh Force, who did recently locate from Detroit during the season 1 offseason, and Pittsburgh's been putting together a really good year, even though this was just a team that was sellers on the trade day back in season number 1, and now here we are, Pittsburgh all of a sudden looking like a competitive baseball team, playing meaningful baseball in September. I think that's really all you can ask for, just being a competitive team. But they have a real opportunity here, depending on how this game turns out and how the rest of September and of course like the first few days of October go. We might see the Pittsburgh Force make their very first playoff appearance, but definitely a big challenge though, as the Minnesota Ducks are also in this division. They're currently leading the AL Central. They would like to keep that lead as much as possible. Not to mention the Chicago Freeze, the defending World Series champions. They're also in here as well. But we will end up seeing the Pittsburgh Force actually strike first in this ball game, as they will end up getting a run off of Ryan Yarbrough. We'll see if Peyton Engel can add on to it. Only batting .227, so not a good batting season to say the least, but he can turn around. Here is Peyton Engel, gets this one out into center field, and it's gonna be gone like a girl in a country song. Home run, and it's only the 3rd home run of the entire season for Peyton Engel, but coming in a critical time, seeing as we are in the month of September right now, as the Pittsburgh Force do have a 3-0 lead. But y'all already know what time it is. The Minnesota Ducks, they are a really good baseball team. They cannot be doubted, as they do want to try to come back. We'll see if Will Smith can help the Minnesota Ducks get that goose egg off the board. The 1-2 pitch from Chris Sale does get into center field, could leave the ballpark, and it does not leave the ballpark. But that being said, Will Smith will still get the RBI anyways. A sacrifice fly that will end up bringing in the first run, but got ourselves an opportunity here to really see Minnesota open things up here, as Garrett Cooper, with the bases loaded, is going to hit this one out into center field, and Garrett Cooper just might go ahead and clear up the bases. So all it really took was one swing of the at-bat, and Minnesota is now ahead. The 3-run lead that the Pittsburgh Force had, it is now officially gone. We'll see if Ryan Yarbrough can hang on to it. It's Nick Senzel, he's at the plate. He's got a really nice double from earlier today, and he might get a little bit more than a double here, as that will also go ahead and leave the ballpark, as Nick Senzel does end up getting his 11th home run of the season. But we will go ahead and jump into the top of the 8th inning, as Will Smith comes to the plate, and Will Smith just shattered this thing. I mean, look at how the other players on Pittsburgh respond once that ball was hit. They already know that it was absolutely gone. And it's the 35th home run for Will Smith this season. It gives him a 2-run lead. So now Michael Wacha with the opportunity maybe to try to calm things down. And he does. So it is still just a 2-run lead. We'll see if Pittsburgh can rally back. Kenny Liverfall trying to make something shake. But he's going to end up striking out swinging. Dealing with Garrett Cooper. But Minnesota dives into their bullpen again despite his good performance. And now Andrew Chaffin comes in the game. And he's been decent. 42 games so far this year. A 3.72 ERA to go with it. But in response, Pittsburgh will make some changes. Tim Castro will go ahead. He's going to be a pinch runner. And we'll see if Ryan McNahan can bring him home. 3-1 count. It's a hitter-friendly count. And it ends up walking in. Not necessarily the tying run, but it does make it just a 1-run deficit in a 6-5 game here. Nick Senzel, he's been absolutely electric in this series so far. 6 for 11, has a home run, which we just saw on his previous at-bat. And Six Senzel drives this one to left field, and it's not gone, but it does bring in potentially the game-winning run, as Pittsburgh will end up taking the lead. They're now up 7-6. And that hit by Nick Senzel does end up being the game-winning run, as the Pittsburgh Force helps their chances in the AL wildcard, keeping up with teams like Las Vegas, like San Antonio, like the Chicago Freeze as well, that helps keep them alive and active in this AL wildcard race. And you know what? Speaking of the AL wildcard race, how about the San Antonio Outlaws? Let's go ahead and check on them real quick. They're taking on the Los Angeles Saints, who are trying to make some things happen. We just saw the San Francisco Seals lose earlier in this episode. So if LA can win, they can gain a gain on San Francisco, just to try to tighten up that race a little bit in the NL West. But we only see one run scored in the entire game. It's from Mike Yastrowick. He hits a solo shot in the the bottom of the second inning, and that ends up being the ultimate difference maker, as well as the lowest scoring game that we've witnessed here in the history of the USBL in terms of games that we actually physically watch, not simulated necessarily. A 1-0 victory for LA. But let's go ahead and see if we go ahead and see a little bit more scoring here, as we go ahead and take a look at an NL Central matchup between the Milwaukee Bears and the Memphis Bobcats. And right from the jump, just in not even half of an inning technically, we do end up, this game already is more high scoring than what we saw in the LA Saints and San Antonio Outlaws game. A 2-run lead that the Milwaukee Bears are going to be going ahead and enjoying. But don't sleep on these Memphis Bobcats now, even though they are at least came into this season as one of the lowest rated teams in baseball. I don't know what it is. They just play well together. They just have good chemistry, because here we are in September, and Memphis, they're still very much in this thing. Like, they're not done yet whatsoever. It does help when they have an all-star like Matt Olson on the team and hitting and cleanup right now. Batting .260 right now. We'll see if he can get that batting average up, and he certainly will do just that. And Memphis will also be getting their very first run on the board. So a 2-1 run lead, as Matt Olson getting that RBI double. That also brings up Giancarlo Stanton, who was trying to go ahead and swing for the fences, but ends up whiffing air instead. But that Matt Olson run does help them go ahead and at least narrow the gap a little bit, as we'll jump into the top of the second inning. I just burped a little bit. That's sexy. And so is this hit by Clint Frazier, who ends up getting a double out there into left center field. It almost leaves the ballpark. Matter of fact, Clint Frazier was able to walk. He literally walked into second base, you know. So definitely a good look for them, as James McCann, he's going to look to try to bring Clint Frazier home a few batters later, and that should get the job done unless there's some major tripping going on. Matter of fact, this could be 2 runs, and it does. So James McCann getting 2 runs off of that hit, and definitely seeing some fireworks early as Davidson tried to join in, but Carlos Vargas does end up getting his very first strikeout of this game. Is now bottom of the 3rd inning. Fernando Mendoza up at the plate. He's 0 for 1 so far, but gets a nice hit out into right center field as well. That hit will end up bouncing off the wall. This could actually end up being the triple, and it is. Not even challenging. They're just going to go ahead and make the throw home. So a triple for Mendoza as it sets up Chris Bryant. And we see Bobby Wood Jr. and Mendoza on the corners. We'll see if Bryant can bring him home. And it looks like they're just going to make the jog home, as this game is now going to be tied up. Chris Bryant does end up getting his 27th home run of the season. Matt Olson also joined in on the action. Not in terms of a home run, but will be easily getting his 2nd extra base hit of the game. As now the go-ahead run for the Memphis Bobcats is on second base currently. We'll see if Giancarlo Stanton, he struck out last at bat, and I don't think he's going to strike out here. Giancarlo Stanton sends an absolute rocket out into left field. A 429-foot bomb that was a no-doubter. And the Bobcats now with a 2-run lead. We'll see if Michael Busch can go ahead and add on to it, as Michael Busch, he hits this one out in the center field. This could be yet another run. Going to test the arm down in center field, and it's way short. A little bit of a noodle arm. Might have not gotten a full grip on the baseball necessarily, but Memphis really starting to open this game up. This could turn into a blowout if the Bears bullpen is not careful. So they call on Richard Blyer. They're trying to calm things down a little bit. Mendoza still getting a nice hit out in the center field, but it will end up dropping for the 2nd out. Well hit ball, though. That will end up driving a run in for Memphis. So an 8-4 lead for the Bobcats. They double up. As now, here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ryan Tapria now coming out of the bullpen for Milwaukee, as he will be taking on JT Realmuto in this at-bat, his first batter, as he's 0 for 2 so far on the day. Make it 1 for 3 as he gets his first at-bat, or not first at-bat, but his first hit in a massive way, as that's only the 8th home run for him all year long, as Memphis continues the offensive barrage, as they already got 9 runs here in this 5th inning. Been absolute electric. And it's not even like Milwaukee is not hitting terrible either. Like, Milwaukee has 7 hits in this game, right? So Milwaukee's been getting those hits. It just hasn't been timely hitting, or straight up, they just haven't been hitting it out of the ballpark like Chris Bryant has been doing. That's his 2nd home run of this game alone. And now Memphis has double-digit runs. It's 11-4 now, as Matt Olson wanted to swing for the fences, but he's actually going to go ahead and strike out to Matt Foster. As now Giancarlo Stanton, he's going to go ahead. He's going to strike out as well. So Memphis cannot add any more runs in this one, but in its 11-4 game here, make it 12-4, as we have, you guessed it, yet another home run. You cannot be serious right now, as JT Realmuto makes it a 12-4 game. And it's been crazy just to see how good this offense has been hitting. Pretty sure that Memphis is going to go ahead and win this game, as that turns into an error. They're going to try to go to third base with it, and wow, that should have been the final out of the bottom of the 8th inning, but instead it's an error. And Giancarlo standing back at it. He can hit hard, and he certainly does hit it pretty hard down the right field side. First baseman cannot handle it, and Giancarlo Stanton brings in yet another run. Make it 13-4 in this game. Freddie Peralta will come in, one of their more seasoned relievers in the Milwaukee bullpen, and they will end up successfully getting that final out. But yeah, what a tough sight to see, as Memphis, not too many surprises here, at least in terms of this game. They do hang on and win this one by a final score of 13-4. What an absolute slaughterfest, as Memphis gets a huge win on home in NL Central play, as it will end up taking us to our final game of this episode. We got the Columbus Jets taking on the Indianapolis Indians. Definitely an important game, especially for Indianapolis. We do end up seeing, what happened with Aurora earlier. So Aurora won their game against the Louisville Colonials. We'll see if Indianapolis can also win their game so that they can keep up in the NL Central race, as Jose Altuve then will help them out in the NL Central race, taking an early lead on the Columbus Jets. And it's only the 16th home run of the year for Jose Altuve. Jose, he's got some power to him, so I'm surprised that he doesn't have that many home runs at this point of the season. But I mean, he's helping his team contribute, I guess. And so is Jordan Alvarez, who's been one of the best signings in the USBL this year. They got him on, less than $4 million a year? Just highway robbery, getting him from the New Orleans Kings. And he's been absolutely helpful, at least on the offensive side of the ball. But in the outfield, he does have plays like that, could have definitely cost a run, as Ronald Acuna Jr. does take advantage of the miscalculation in the outfield, as we'll get him into scoring position. And John Peterson, he's going to make sure to take care of the rest, as that will easily get a junior home. He does have that 91 speed, so he definitely has some wheels on him, that's for sure. And Columbus will end up getting their very first run of this game. We're going to try to tie things up here with Austin Riley, but he's going to end up doing a little bit of window shopping instead. He will end up striking out looking. But Columbus is going to go to their bullpen here in the bottom of the 4th. They find Forrest Wheatley, who just came up from AAA not too long ago, as Alex Baum. He's going to hit this one to right field, but it's going to be a little blooper, though, as that could be the tying run, and it ends up being... No, I got it confused. Indianapolis is actually batting right now. I thought it was Columbus still for some reason. I'm sorry about that, y'all. A little bit of a brain fart here for you guys, but Forrest Wheatley is still pitching for the Columbus Jets, and Jordan Alvarez getting another RBI single. That's his second RBI of this game, and it does push the lead up to 3 runs, and it could grow even bigger, as Josh Naylor at the plate. 1-2 count in the center field. Could this be a double play? Not in time. So yet another run for the Indianapolis Indians. Definitely a big help for them. But now we'll go ahead and jump into the top of the 5th inning, as Columbus Jets have an opportunity to get themselves back in this game, as we might have a double play. But no, Ronald Acuna Jr. beats the throw over to first base, and that means Columbus gets themselves yet another run out on the board. So it's 5-2 game here, as we go ahead and jump into the top of the 6th inning. Harold Ramirez taking on Genesis Cabrera. That is a heck of a first name, by the way. Although he's going to be a hit there into left field, and Jordan Alvarez misplays it. Wow. Hale Ramirez gets a ground rule. They call it a double. But if you ask me, that could have certainly been an error on Yordan Alvarez. Just how nonchalantly he played it. And it's going to cause dearly, as that's going to be a home run for Austin Riley. But instead of it being just a solo shot, oh no, it ends up being a 2-run shot instead. So Indianapolis does go to the bullpen. They pull out Robert Stephenson, who takes on Robert Nunez, but that's deep into left field, and it's gonna be gone. Like a girl in a country song. And a solo shot that is gonna tie this game up at 5 apiece now. The Columbus Jets have officially rallied back. And we are going to be in for an exciting last few innings, so buckle up. It's going to be a good one. As Cesar Hernandez also hits a home run, this time out to right field, and it's going to be gone. As that's going to be another solo shot. This time Cesar Hernandez, 14th home run of the season. As it will bring out Cal Quantrill from the bullpen. We'll see if he can help hold his 6-5 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. As Alex Baum comes to the plate, 1 for 2 so far on the day. Here comes the pitch, and Alex Baum gets a hold of one as well. Is he going to respond? Yes, sir! A solo shot for Alex Baum. Home run number 20 of the year. As Yordan Alvarez will end up striking out in the very next at-bat, but that being said, the Indianapolis Indians do have this thing all tied up at 6 apiece now. A back and forth affair as Francisco Lindor is also going to strike out to Cal Quantrill. That does end up wrapping up the bottom of the 6th inning. As we now go into the top of the 7th now, Ronald Acuna, he's been an absolute menace in this game. He's got some elite speed that Columbus really likes. As that's a deep fly ball out in the right center field. Is it leaving the ballpark? Yes, it does. And a back and forth affair that just keeps coming. The 29th home run of the season for Acuna Jr. And that will end up giving Columbus a 1-run lead once again. Is now Austin Riley going up to the plate. He's going to end up striking out swinging to Diego Castillo. It's his 2nd strikeout of the inning, and they will end up getting out of the 7th. So now we go ahead and jump into the bottom of the 8th inning here, as Yordan Alvarez made some mistakes in the outfield, but can make up for it right now. As Alvarez deep in the right center field, and it's gonna be gone. Solo shot for Yordan Alvarez, the 34th home run of the season for him. This game is all tied up at 7, but they cannot retake the lead though, even though bases were loaded. Fred Shaver, in probably one of the worst times possible, to be honest with you, ends up doing some window shopping because he does end up striking out looking. I mean, look at that. He didn't even move the bat. So now here we are in the bottom of the 9th. James Hoyt. Let's see what we got going on and going down as we get ready to move here. We'll see if Max Kepler can also make some stuff happen. As here we are, top of the 9th. Ronald Acuna facing off against James Hoyt. Here comes the pitch, and ends up striking out looking. So 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Austin Riley, few batters later, also striking out. So 1 out left. And Indianapolis can give themselves a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th. But big hit over in the left field. It leaves the ballpark. Actually hits the foul pole in left field. So now Columbus officially has themselves the lead. Colton Long could try to add on to this thing. He will end up taking a really tough strikeout. But the Columbus Jets, a really tough game back and forth. And that does mean the Aurora Lightning are going to go ahead and extend this lead even further. in the NL Central to get close to clinching a 10-7 win. So with that being said, that will end up wrapping up today's episode of USBL Action. Next episode, we will end up going ahead and wrapping up this regular season. So we'll go through what's left of September as well as the month of October leading up to the postseason. It's going to be a really good one. It's been a really exciting season 2 in the USBL. So all of that being said, if you enjoyed the content, I would truly appreciate it if you smash that like button, and then also hit the subscribe button if you have to be brand new. But with all that being said, this is JohnJake Baseball on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.